कुंज बिहारी
जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी
राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी
जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी
जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी
जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी
जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी
जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी
यशोदनन्दनं व्रजजनरञ्जना
यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जन
यशोदनन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना
यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जन
यशोदनन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना
यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जन
यशोदनन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना
यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जन
यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना
यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जन
यमुनातीरवनचारी
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 राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी
जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी
जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी
जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी
जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी
जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी
गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी
जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी
यशोदनन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना
यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जन
यशोदनन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना
यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जन
यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना
यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जन
यमुनातीरवनचारी
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 राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी
जय राधा माधव
प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की जय। मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। जगन्नाथपुरी क्षेत्र की जय। गंगा माई यमुना माई की जय। वृंद देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण चंद्र की जय। श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की जय। श्री श्री निताय गौरांग की जय। श्री श्री प्रहलाद नरसिंह देव की जय। श्री श्री सुदर्शन भगवान की जय। हरि नाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. ग्रंथरा श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय।
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. What is Wi-Fi? Oops. अच्छा ये कैसे करें? ठीक है, आई थिंक दिस शुड वर्क। ये क्या हो गया? हरे कृष्ण, हरे राम, हरे राम, राम राम। हॉटस्पॉट ऑफ। ठीक है सर। हरे कृष्ण, हरे कृष्ण, कृष्ण कृष्ण, हरे राम, राम राम, हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण, हरे राम, हरे हरे कृष्ण, कृष्ण कृष्ण, हरे हरे, राम राम, हरे कृष्ण, कृष्ण कृष्ण, हरे हरे, हरे राम, राम राम, हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण, कृष्ण हरे राम, राम हरे कृष्ण, कृष्ण कृष्ण, हरे हरे, हरे राम, राम राम, हरे हरे कृष्ण। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, first canto, 11th chapter, text number 13. Gopura dvara margeshu Gopura dvarga margeshu Krita kautuka torana Krita kautuka torana Chitra
ध्वजा पताकाग्रये चित्रध्वजा पताकाग्रये अन्तः प्रतिहता तपाम् अन्तः प्रतिहता तपाम् गोपुरद्वारमार्गेषु कृतकौतुकतोरणा चित्रध्वजा पताकाग्रये अन्तः प्रतिहता तपाम् गोपुराद्वार्गमार्गेषु कृतकौतुकतोरणा चित्रध्वजा पताकाग्रये अन्तः प्रतिहता तपाम् गोपुराद्वार्गमार्गेषु तोरणाम् चित्रध्वजा पताकाग्रये अन्तः प्रतिहता तपाम् गोपुराद्वारमार्गेषु कृतकौतुकतोरणा चित्रध्वजा पताकाग्रये अन्तः प्रतिहता तपाम् Gopura, the gateway of the city, Dvara, door, Margeshu, on different roads, Krita, undertaken, Kautuka, because of the festival, Toranam, decorated arch, Chitra, painted, Dhvaja, flags, Pataka, Agraihi, by the foremost signs. Antaha, within. Pratihata, checked. Tapam, sunshine. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. The city gateway, the household doors, and festoon arches along the roads were all nicely decorated with festive signs like plantain trees and mango leaves, all to welcome the Lord. Flags, garlands, and painted signs and slogans all combined to shade the sunshine. Please repeat. The city gateway, the household doors, and festoon arches along the roads were all nicely decorated with festive signs like plantain trees and mango leaves, all to welcome the Lord. Flags, garlands, and painted signs and slogans all combined to shade the sunshine. Purport. Signs of decoration in special festivals were also collected from the gifts of nature, such as the plantain trees, the mango trees, fruits and flowers. Mango trees, coconut palms, and plantain trees are still accepted as auspicious signs. The flags mentioned above were all painted with the picture of either Garuda or Hanuman, the two great servitors of the Lord. For devotees, such paintings and decorations are still adored, and the servitor of the Master is paid more respects for the satisfaction of the Lord. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschyati Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We discussed in the last class, the volume can be reduced little, it is whistling. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. We discussed in the last class how the city was very nicely decorated, and city of Dwarka was full of natural opulences. There were fountains, there were gardens, and various parks and pious trees. Pious trees we understood, which are fruit-bearing trees. So in this way, every living entity naturally we enjoy the gifts of nature. And we also understood how, unfortunately, despite our advancement, we are moving away from these natural gifts of nature or opulences being given by the nature. Only at the cost of the comfort of a handful of men who are able to afford themselves luxurious homes at such natural places, rest all the civilization is put into hellish factories and workplaces, and thus people are suffering, only to benefit a handful. So city of Dwarka, but there is no description of any factory, that Krishna had so many factories. No, there was no need of factory. So God has created whatever is necessary for us naturally. So we are supposed to take advantage of natural resources and remain satisfied in that. So that is the way of a happy civilization. And now Lord Krishna is returning, so the description is given. Dwarka is anyway very, very beautiful, but it is further beautified. How? Gopura Dwara Margeshu, the city gateway. So the cities also were very, very systematically planned. There were gateways in the cities. So the city gateway, the household doors, and festooned arches along the roads were all nicely decorated. How they were decorated? With festive signs like plantain trees, banana trees, mango leaves, all to welcome the Lord. Flags, garlands, painted signs and slogans all combined to shade the sunshine. So entire city was very nicely decorated. And various flags were carrying, although it is not mentioned in the translation, but Prabhupada explains in the purport. The flags mentioned above were all painted with the picture of either Garun or Hanuman, the two great servitors of the Lord. So when we want to have any picture, we wish to have pictures of the Supreme Lord. But along with the pictures of Supreme Lord, we should have pictures of devotees as well. As it is explained here, that all the flags, they were carrying pictures not of Krishna but of the servitors of Krishna, Garun or Hanuman. Why it is so? Why not pictures of Supreme Lord only? Because it is explained, for devotees such paintings and decorations are still adored, and the servitor of the master is paid more respects for the satisfaction of the Lord. So servitor of the Lord also should be paid respects. And how much respect? Same, not same, but more than the Lord. So this point Prabhupada repeatedly stresses in many, many places, that the servitor of the Lord is offered more respects in the material world. When Sanatan Goswami also approached Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him that Krishna is very kind. Similar thing was told to Raghunath Goswami also. So they tell, I do not know who is Krishna. Raghunath Das Goswami tells, but I know that you are my deliverer. You have delivered me from the clutches of Maya. In this way, Prabhupada also, when Prabhupada was told, you are servant of Krishna, Prabhupada tells, no, my Guru Maharaj is servant of Krishna. I am simply trying to follow the instructions of my spiritual master. I have no connection with Krishna, Prabhupada tells. I have my relationship with my Guru Maharaj. So I am simply trying to follow his instructions. So this is very, very important. In this material world, the power of attorney, Krishna has given to his pure devotee. So that is why pure devotee should be offered more respects than the Supreme Lord. Not just equal, but more respects. And Krishna also tells Mad Bhakteshu Puja Bhyadika.
That is why worshipping the spiritual master, worshipping pure devotees is very, very important element. And this is very important point. And this point, majority of the population, they miss it out. People go to temples, they worship the Supreme Lord, but people do not realize the importance of devotees, because that needs to come to advanced level to appreciate the importance of devotees. The neophytes can only appreciate the importance of the deities in the temple, but not of the devotees. So when one is advanced, one realizes the value of devotees. So that is why Prabhupada repeatedly wants us to understand this important point, that the servitor of the master is paid more respects for the satisfaction of the Lord. Yes, I want to satisfy Lord, but Lord is more satisfied when one worships the Supreme Lord through his pure devotee, rather than worshipping him directly. Next verse also describes the beautification of the city. Sammarjita Mahamarga Rathyapanaka Chatvaram Siktam Gandha Jalairuktam Phala Pushpa Akshata Ankuraihi. The highways, subways, lanes, markets, and public meeting places were all thoroughly cleansed and then moistened with scented water. And to welcome the Lord, fruits, flowers, and unbroken seeds were strewn everywhere. Prabhupada explains scented waters prepared by distilling flowers like rose and keoda were requisitioned to wet the roads, streets, and lanes of Dwarka Dham. How much was the opulence that people are purchasing original perfume? It is very, very expensive. We have to purchase for the deities sometimes. So just a small bottle, few milliliters, it is super expensive, worth thousands of rupees. So natural fragrance is very, very expensive. So one cannot even spray his clothes sufficiently. But here the streets are being sprayed by such scents, natural perfumes. So this is called opulence. Scented waters prepared by distilling flowers like rose and keoda were requisitioned to wet the roads, streets, and lanes of Dwarka Dham. So people not spraying on the clothes, but they are spraying on the highways and the roadways of the Dwarka Dham. Such places, along with the marketplace and public meeting places, were thoroughly cleansed. From the above description, it appears that the city of Dwarka Dham was considerably big, containing many highways. So within the city there were highways, streets and public meeting places with parks, gardens, and reservoirs of water, all very nicely decorated with flowers and fruits. And to welcome the Lord, such flowers and fruits with unbroken seeds of grain were also strewn all over the public places. Unbroken seeds of grain or fruits in the seedling stage were considered auspicious, and they are still so used by the Hindus in general on festival days. So in this way the city is decorated. The flowers in the initial budding stages and unbroken pieces of grains, they are strewn all over the places, marketplace, public meeting place. In this way, entire temple, entire atmosphere becomes very, very cleansed. So this is the way of receiving the Supreme Lord. As somebody asked, why cleanliness is considered next to godliness? Because unless the place is cleansed, what to speak of Supreme Lord? Even ordinary person, any sattvic person would not like to enter. If we keep our places dirty, then what happens? Tamasic living entities will come. So in our college hostels, we are inviting tamasic living entities by having tamasic decoration of our places. You go, you will find wine bottles and the cigarettes, half-burnt cigarettes, and magazines and everything thrown all around. And probably the bed sheet was washed in Sat Yoga. Generations of insects have seen that same bed sheet. So in this way we have tamasic decoration. And no wonder that we will be inviting tamasic living entities in such places. And we keep on reading unfortunate incidents. Unfortunately, a couple of days ago, there was somebody lost his life. This all happens because of the influence of tamasic living entities, negative energies. So if we have to invite any person, we have to prepare the place suitably. So the Supreme Lord is supremely pure. Lord will never agree. He will not feel comfortable in a place which is unclean. So this point has been very nicely explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in Madhya Leela, chapter number 12, Gundicha Margin. So we'll be having Rath Yatra festival now in the summers. What happens in the Rath Yatra in Jagannath Puri? Lord travels to another temple situated around 3 kilometers across the main temple on the main road. That is called Gundicha temple. And the temple was very nicely cleansed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu personally cleansed the temple along with all his associates to show how important it is to clean the temple if we have to invite the Lord. And this activity is very, very important because it explains us how we have to receive the Lord within the temple, within the external temple, or within the temple of our heart. So we are all very eager to see the Lord, and the Lord is also very eager to become visible, but we should give chance to the Lord to reside within our heart. And when the Lord will stay in the heart? When the heart is cleansed very nicely. Just like the city of Dwarka is being decorated to welcome the Lord, similarly we have to cleanse and decorate our heart to welcome the Supreme Lord. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj has given very nice purport. Although it is little long, it spans around 8 to 9 pages, but it explains very nicely the importance of cleansing the heart or cleansing the temple to receive the Lord. So we will try to understand this process. एमता पूर्वद्वारा आगे पथयता सकल शोधिलता केवर्णि बेकता. Outside the gateway of the temple, all the roads were also cleansed, and no one could tell exactly how this was done. So not just the temple, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also cleansed the roads outside the place, outside the temple also, along with the temple. In commenting on the cleansing of the Gundicha temple, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as the world leader, was personally giving instructions on how one should receive Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead within one's cleansed and pacified heart. The Lord is supremely pure, so the supremely pure personality will not come to impure place. If one wants to see Krishna seated in his heart, that is our objective. The objective is to see Supreme Lord Krishna within our heart always. That is called Krishna consciousness. Smartavyam satatam Vishnu vismartavyo na jatuchit. Just to see Supreme Lord Krishna within the heart, the yogis abandon all their families' duties. They live in the forest for hundreds and thousands of years. So if one wants to see Krishna seated in his heart, he must first cleanse the heart as prescribed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Shikshashtaka, Cheto Darpana Marjanam. In this age, everyone's heart is specially unclean. So our hearts are always unclean in this material world, but especially in this Kali Yuga, our hearts are unclean. As confirmed in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Hridi Antasto hi abhadrani, to wash away all dirty things accumulated within the heart. So what do we have to do to cleanse the heart? We can cleanse the temple by using broomsticks and water. How do we cleanse the heart? Cheto Darpan Marjanam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has recommended, advised to wash away all dirty things accumulated within the heart. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised everyone to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. The first result will be that the heart is cleansed. So Hare Krishna mantra will give us topmost spiritual perfection. But before that, the first step that we achieve is cleansing of the heart. So this is very important. First things first. That is why the foundation is chanting. So if the foundation is loose, if the chanting and hearing is not happening properly, then Cheto Darpan Marjanam does not happen. Heart remains unclean. Then further advancement does not happen. The Lord does not get situated within the heart. That is why Prabhupada told, simply focus on chanting. Any difficulty is there. There is no need to. So sometimes we try to find some tricks
some shortcuts, some other ways, and we think that maybe Prabhupada has given some other solution somewhere else. No. For all the problems, Prabhupada has given one solution. But simply, this solution has to be implemented faithfully. It is the shortest shortcut, the easiest process, but one has to do it very, very sincerely. And usually we don't find devotees doing it sincerely. Hardly we find people, even those who are chanting 16 rounds, we find a devotee who is sincerely chanting their rounds. Very difficult to find. Usually we are distracted, even in the morning hours, even in the temple, and thus we don't attain the required result. So this is very, very important. Simply we have to chant and hear very nicely, and by this process, our heart would be cleansed. First result will be that the heart is cleansed. Similarly, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam confirms this statement. Shrinvatam sakata Krishna punya shravana kirtanaha hridayantasto hi abhadrani vidhunoti surit satam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead who is Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor of truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who relishes his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. If a devotee at all wants to cleanse his heart, he must chant and hear the glories of the Lord Sri Krishna. This is a simple process. Krishna himself will help cleanse the heart because he is already seated there. Krishna wants to continue living within the heart, and the Lord wants to give directions, but one has to keep his heart as clean as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu kept the Gundicha temple. So Gundicha temple was immaculately cleansed. So Lord wants to stay in our heart and he wants to give us directions, provided we have to keep the heart as cleansed as Gundicha temple. The devotee therefore has to cleanse his heart just as the Lord cleansed the Gundicha temple. In this way one can be pacified and enriched in devotional service. The disturbance of the heart is because of contamination, the dirty things within the heart. So if you want to have a peaceful mind, peaceful heart, we have to cleanse the heart. If the heart is filled with straw, grains of sand, weeds or dust, one cannot enthrone the Supreme Personality of Godhead there. The heart must be cleansed of all material motives brought about through fruitive work, speculative knowledge and mystic yoga system and so many other forms of so-called meditation. The heart must be cleansed without ulterior motive. One should not attempt material upliftment. Understanding, so what are the contaminations of the heart? What are the weeds? What are the dust, the grains of dust in the heart? So that is explained here. The attempt to have material upliftment, which everyone is doing. Entire society is busy in material upliftment. That is simply a waste of time, for it never pacifies the heart. So yesterday I was talking to a successful businessman settled abroad, and now he has become old. So after having international tour, as people usually do, but he is a good devotee also, so he was sharing that yes, Prabhu, this is a fact. After spending this entire life, now in the old age, I am realizing what is the use of all such activities. And if somebody asks me, would you like to repeat this life? I say, no, I don't want to repeat. I don't want repetition. So in old age, if we are fortunate, we may realize that what is the use of all these attempts which I have made for my material upliftment, because the heart never gets pacified. But when we have become old, there is not sufficient energy left in the body, and it is very difficult to unlearn the material contamination which we have got to understand pure Krishna conscious philosophy. The age is not suitable, the energy may not be left sufficiently, and so many other impediments can be there. Attachments become very, very strong. So that is why we should take advantage, the early the better. Otherwise, all the attempts of material upliftment, they are simply contaminations of the heart. And understanding the Supreme by speculative knowledge, this is also contamination of the heart. Trying to understand God using one's speculation, this should not be attempted. One should try to understand God by engaging in service of God and by hearing the description given by Lord himself. Our speculations are of no use. Fruitive activity, severe austerity and penance. Severe austerities and penances to gain some material powers or material position in the society. This is also an impediment. These are also contaminations. So severe austerity, severe penances, fruitive activities, material upliftment, speculative knowledge, attempts to know the Supreme Lord, all these are contaminations. All these activities are against the natural growth of spontaneous love of Godhead. As soon as these are present within the heart should be understood to be unclean and therefore unfit to serve as Krishna's sitting place. We cannot perceive the Lord's presence in our hearts unless our hearts are cleansed. So we have to see how much desire I have to have material upliftment. I want to have better standard of life. I want to live in a better city, in a better house, wear better clothes, have more fame in the society, prestige in the society. So if these feelings are present in the heart, that means my heart is not fit to perceive the presence of Supreme Lord. There should be no desire for material upliftment because that is simply wastage of time. The richest man of the world has tweeted. What he has tweeted? Yes. One who has said, money can buy happiness. What was the full statement? Yes, they really knew. Yeah, one who has said that money cannot buy happiness really knew what he was saying. So the richest man of the planet is telling that the one who said money cannot buy happiness really knew what he was saying. Somebody has commented, so please give some money to me so that I also can realize this knowledge. Yes, so this is second class intelligence. I also want to become rich, then I will realize that this is true. And first class intelligence is understand the person who has attained that spot, he is himself witness. And the scriptures are also telling, God is also telling. So this is called first class intelligence. The people who have attained that platform, they have realized this is true. And God, the supreme creator, he is also telling that this is true. So let me understand and not waste my time for material upliftment and gaining money. But actually this statement is not correct. Money can buy happiness. Money can buy happiness, family can buy happiness, all these things can get us happiness if it is used for Krishna. Money can buy all the happiness if all the money is used in the service of Krishna. Family also will give us happiness if the family is used in the service of Krishna. So anything, the problem is not with the money, the problem is not with the people, the problem is not with the food. The problem is that it is not engaged in the service of Krishna. Then it becomes sources of misery and distress because Krishna is the proprietor. So this point also people don't understand. Yes, money can give us happiness. It will give us spiritual bliss provided the money is engaged in service of Krishna. What Bali Maharaj did, how he became such advanced devotee, simply offered everything to Krishna. That's it. Simply by offering his possessions in the service of Krishna, he gained pure devotional service. So anything which is used in the service of Krishna can immediately bring us our job, our education, our skills can give us happiness if they are used in service of Krishna. So we should not desire material upliftment but Krishna consciousness. A material desire is explained as a desire to enjoy the material world to its fullest extent. Material desires means desire to enjoy the world to fullest extent. Whatever pleasure is possible in the world, I want to take it. The most expensive dress, the most expensive watch, the most expensive house, the most this thing people want to have. In modern language, this is called economic development. So economic development is another name for material desire. An inordinate desire for economic development is considered to be like straws and grains of sand within the heart. Some economic development is required. To maintain body and soul, you need some money. That is okay. But inordinate development, keep on developing economy without any limits, then this is called contamination. If one is overly engaged in material activity, the heart will always remain disturbed. And thus, there is evidence of this. The whole society is becoming more and more disturbed. Why? Because there is inordinate attempt to do economic development. So the more we work, we strive towards economic development, the heart will become disturbed. If one is overly engaged in material activity, the heart will always remain disturbed. As stated by Narottam Das Thakur, Sansara Vishanale, Divi Nishi Hiya Jwale, Juda ite na kainu upaye. In other words, endeavor for material opulence is against the principle of devotional service. Sansara Vishanale, the sansara is compared to poisonous fire. And this poisonous fire burns our heart. The endeavor for material opulence is against the principle of devotional service. Material enjoyment includes activities such as great sacrifices for auspicious activity, charity, austerity, elevation to higher planetary system, even living happily within the material world. These are all called activities of material enjoyment. Karmis generally think that the interaction of fruitive activities can be counteracted by another karma. Our suffering is because of karma. Which karma? Bad karma. Now in the Western world also this word is very famous, karma. They all realize karma, do your karma. Don't worry about others. If they are troubling you, they will suffer from their bad karma. You don't worry about it. So they also understand the suffering happens because of karma. But what they don't understand is the suffering of bad karma cannot be counteracted by another karma. To counteract the suffering of karma, you have to engage in Krishna consciousness, pure devotional service. This is certainly a misconception. If one is deluded by such a conception, he is cheated by his own activity. Such activities have been compared to an elephant's bathing. The sufferings of human society cannot be counteracted by material plans. The only way suffering can be mitigated is by Krishna consciousness. And this also we see, people have been making material plans in every country, year after year, government after government, but they have not been able to mitigate the material miseries. So sufferings of human society cannot be counteracted by material plans. Everyone is busy in making material plans. By education, by occupation, by relationships, everyone is thinking, by this I will be able to counteract material miseries, but this is a misconception. The only way suffering can be mitigated is by Krishna consciousness. When the heart is actually cleansed, one can clearly see the Lord sitting there without any disturbance. In Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the Lord confirms that He sits within the heart of the pure devotee. Sadhavo hridayam mahyam, sadhunam hridayam tu aham. Impersonal speculation, monism, speculative knowledge, mystic yoga and meditation are all compared to grains of sand. They simply cause irritation to the heart. No one can satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead by such activities. Nor do we give the Lord a chance to sit in our hearts peacefully. Rather, Lord is simply disturbed by them. So one who is chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he also may be disturbing the Lord because he does not want to satisfy the Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada explains, Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj explains, sometimes yogis and jnanis in the beginning take to the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra as a way to begin their various practices. But when they falsely think that they have attained release from the bondage of material existence, they give up chanting. They do not consider that the ultimate goal is the form of the Lord or the name of the Lord. Such unfortunate creatures are never favored by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for they do not know what devotional service is. So this is important. Even though one is chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he will not be favored by Supreme Lord. That is why the devotional service has to be done in knowledge. This is very important. Even simply engages in devotional service, as we discussed last week. A vegetable also has offered itself in service of Krishna. Vegetable has sacrificed its life. But vegetable did not become Mahajan like Bali Maharaj. Why? Vegetable also offered everything, sacrificed its own life. But that sacrifice was not done in knowledge. That sacrifice was done in ignorance. But as Prabhupada explains, devotional service is like fire. You touch it with knowledge or without knowledge, it will act. So definitely, that is devotional service. When the vegetable is cooked for Krishna, it immediately gets human form of life. So this is Agyata Sukriti. Devotional service done in ignorance brings us closer to spiritual advancement. We get more chances of spiritual advancement, but we don't make spiritual advancement. So devotional service has to be done in knowledge. So those who are chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra with the objective of merging in the Supreme Lord, when people falsely think that they have attained release from the bondage of material existence, they give up chanting. Their aim of chanting Hare Krishna is to get liberation. And when they think that they are liberated, they give up the chanting. So chanting, they don't understand, it is not just the means, it is the ultimate end also. For us, the objective of chanting is chanting. We don't want to do anything else. We chant so that we can chant only Hare Krishna Mahamantra with pure love of Krishna. We have no other business. But impersonalists, they want to meditate on Krishna's form so that one day they can give up this meditation when they become liberated. Then they tell you have to become detached from this form of the Lord also. You have to become detached from your Guru also. So they tell leave the Guru, leave the form of the Lord, leave chanting, and that is ultimate perfection. So if somebody is chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, so that is why impersonalists also chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So one should not think that they are devotees or they are advanced. No. They will chant the same name, Hare Krishna, Radharani, Radhe Radhe, Jai Vrindavan Dham. But ultimately they want to forget everything. They are very eager. When can I stop chanting? This is their objective. So such people are not favored. Why they are not favored? Because they have no knowledge of devotional service. So that is why it is important to cultivate knowledge. So it is very, very important to hear Bhagavatam, to read Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and thus practice this Krishna consciousness in knowledge. When it is practiced in knowledge, then it gives us desired result. Lord Krishna describes them in Bhagavad Gita in this way. Tan aham dushata kruran sansareshu naradhaman. Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, I perpetually cast into the ocean of material existence, into various demoniac species of life. So these people, even though they may be chanting Hare Krishna mantra, Krishna tells, I put them into demoniac species of life. So that is why it is very, very important to execute devotional service under the guidance of pure devotee in knowledge. Otherwise, simply doing some practices lead us nowhere. By his practical example, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has shown us that all the grains of sand must be picked up thoroughly and thrown outside. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so this is important, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also cleansed the outside of the temple. Why? Lord is not going to come outside. Why outside the temple also? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also cleansed the outside of the temple, fearing that the grains of sand would again come within. In this connection, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains that even though one may become free from the desire for fruitive activity, sometimes the subtle desire for fruitive activity again comes into being within the heart. So we might not have any gross desire. I have understood, yes, economic development does not make us happy, and thus let me just focus on Krishna consciousness, but then I have still subtle desires. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains that even though one may become free from the desire for fruitive activity, sometimes a subtle desire for fruitive activity again comes into being within the heart. What are these subtle desires? One often thinks of conducting business to improve devotional activity. People tell Prabhu, I want to become rich. And then when I am rich, then I will serve Krishna very nicely. Or I want to have a good position in the society. When I am having good position in the society, then I will preach very nicely. Or I want to become famous. When I am famous, then I will be able to spread very nicely Krishna consciousness. These are all. So one devotee was, devotee introduced Prabhupada, this devotee is practicing music. Prabhupada, why he wants to practice music? He told Prabhupada, he wants to become famous. So that when he is famous, he will be able to preach Krishna consciousness very nicely. So Prabhupada tell him he will never become famous. So he preached nicely. Becoming famous or important figure in this material world, it is all a matter of chance. One may become famous, one may not. but we have to engage in service of Krishna. Service of Krishna will bring us perfection. It will give us all power to spread Krishna consciousness to one and all. So we simply try to become pure devotee and preach Krishna consciousness. In course of Krishna consciousness, if Krishna wants, Prabhupada explains, it's a matter of chance only. If Krishna wants, fame will come and opulence will come. If Krishna does not want, it is not required, it may not come. The same Arjuna who was able to defeat all the devatas of the universe, entire army of the demigods Arjuna was able to defeat single-handedly. That Arjuna was not able to lift his bow later. What to speak of shooting arrows from that? He was not able to lift Gandhi when it was time to protect the wives of Krishna. So Prabhupada tells emergency powers were given to Arjuna to fulfill the purpose of Krishna. And when Krishna left the planet, his mission was fulfilled, then the emergency powers were withdrawn. Why? Prabhupada explains, because these emergency powers were not required for Arjuna for going back to Godhead. So Krishna will give us something, powers which helps us to fulfill his mission and to take us back to Godhead. When the power is not required, it may be withdrawn or may not be given, because for our success it is not required. So thus material name, fame, position is incidental. It may come or may not come. So one should not fall for these things. So these are also contaminations. And just for these activities, people lose their Krishna consciousness. So there is a desire to become famous. So I think for service of Krishna, I am trying to become famous. There is a desire to become wealthy. In the name of Krishna, I want to earn money. There is a desire to gain prestige. In the name of Krishna, I want to clear some big exam. And just to show that, so in this way, I should be very, very cautious of these subtle desires. One often thinks of conducting business to improve devotional activity, but the contamination is so strong that it may later develop into misunderstanding described as kutinati, fault finding, and pratishtha, desire for name and fame and for high position, jiva hinsa, envy of other living entities, nishiddhachar, accepting things forbidden in the Shastra. Kama, desire for material gain, and puja, hankering for popularity. So this subtle desire of material enjoyment can later develop into all these weeds. The word kutinati means duplicity. As an example of pratishtha, one may attempt to imitate Haridas Thakur and become famous among the devotees. See, this devotee chants so nicely. We may sit in one place and try to become famous in the community of the devotees. One's real desire may be for name and fame. In other words, one thinks that fools will accept one to be as good as Haridas Thakur just because one lives in a solitary place. These are all material desires. A neophyte is certain to be attacked by other material desires as well, namely desires for women and money. In this way, the heart is again filled with dirty things and becomes harder and harder, like that of a materialist. Gradually, one desires to become a reputed devotee or an avatar. The word Jeev Hinsa actually means stopping the preaching of Krishna consciousness. Preaching work is described as paropkar, welfare activity for others. Those who are ignorant of the benefits of devotional service must be educated by preaching. If one stops preaching and simply sits down in a solitary place, he is engaging in material activity. So we can see for ourselves, if this desire is there in our heart, that we sit down in a place and we stop our preaching work. Prabhupada is explaining, Bhaktisdan Maharaj is explaining, he is engaging in material activity. This is Jiva Hinsa. So this is also a weed. If we are not conscious, then we may just be satisfied to stop our preaching and remain satisfied in our place, sitting and chanting. This is actually an act of violence. Why violence? Because people are dying, they are suffering simply because of lack of Krishna consciousness. And if I am not preaching, it's like I am having medicine which is available for free. I'm not giving it to others who are suffering. So this is actually a weed of the heart. So please, it is very, very important. We see in every other page,
Prabhupada is telling, all the acharyas are telling the importance of preaching, spreading this message to others. So if we do not preach, simply we are chanting, then this is Jiva Hinsa. If one stops preaching and simply sits down in a solitary place, he is engaging in material activity. If one desires to make a compromise with the Mayavadis, so why it is a material activity? Because I desire material result. Either I desire that I want to show that I am chanting 25 rounds every day, 40 rounds every day, 100 rounds every day, 64 rounds every day, and I want to gain prestige. So I am chanting to gain prestige, or I am chanting for my peace of mind. If I chant 16 rounds every day, my mind is peaceful, so that I can carefully tackle the scolding of my boss in college. I can tackle the disturbances of my family life. This chanting helps me. So again, it is a fruitive activity. I want my peace of mind. For this I am chanting. But that is not actually devotional activity. If I desire peace of mind, which means liberation, or I want some cheap name, fame, prestige, then these are called material activities. So anyone who is not preaching Krishna consciousness and chanting in a solitary place, that means it is a material activity. So we chant so that we can preach Krishna consciousness. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction. Janma sartha kari, kar paropkar. Amar agyaya guru haya tara ei desh. Yare dekho tare kaho Krishna upadesh. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, preaching. If one desires to make a compromise with the Mayavadis, he is also engaged in material activity. So one should never compromise with the Mayavad philosophy. Mayavad philosophy is wrong, and it does not uplift a living entity to spiritual perfection. A devotee should never make compromise with non-devotees. By acting as a professional guru, mystic yogi, or miracle man, one may cheat and bluff the general public and gain fame. Many people you see, they act as miracle men. They want to show miracles. And what is the benefit of showing such miracles? The public remains fool as it is. By acting as professional guru, mystic yogi, or miracle man, one may cheat and bluff the general public and gain fame as wonderful mystic. But all this is considered to be dust, straw, and grains of sand within the heart. In addition, one should follow the regulative principles and not desire illicit sex, gambling, intoxicants, or meat. Obviously, 4 regulative principles also should be followed. They are also contaminations of the heart. To give us practical instructions, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu cleansed the temple twice. His second cleansing was more thorough. The idea was to throw away all the stumbling blocks on the path of devotional service. He cleansed the temple with firm conviction, as is evident from his using his own personal garments for cleaning. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to see personally that the temple was thoroughly cleansed to the standard of clean marble. The mind can be peaceful and thoroughly cleansed when one no longer desires anything but devotional service. Even though all dirty things may be cleansed away, sometimes subtle desires remain in the mind for impersonalism, monism, success, and the 4 principles of religious activity, dharma, arth, kama, moksha. All these are like spots on clean cloth. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also wanted to cleanse all these away. The Lord is very much pleased with those who cleanse the temple by taking out undesirable things accumulated within. This is called anartha nivritti, cleansing the heart of all unwanted things. Thus, the cleansing of the Gundicha Mandir was conducted by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to let us know how the heart should be cleansed and soothed to receive Lord Krishna and enable him to sit within the heart without disturbance. So in this way, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu cleansed personally the temple, like the Dwarkavasis, they cleansed entire city. In this way, we should attempt to cleanse the heart very nicely. And only when the heart is cleansed, the Lord sits here without any disturbance. We are able to see the Lord and take directions. With this, we will end unless there are any questions.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, you mentioned that it is very rare, even for devotees, that they are doing very nice hearing and chanting.
Yeah.
And we are always distracted, Prabhu, even during Bhagavatam class. So, Prabhu, So desire is there to do it nicely. Instructions are there. We are doing sadhana, reading, but still we are unable to do, Prabhu. So how to do?
So we have to practice. Again, it's nothing but practice. We keep on desiring, we keep on attempting. Everything depends upon our efforts and determination. If we are determined, we keep on. There are failures, there are setbacks, there are challenges everywhere. Like people struggle, Prabhupada explains, in the material world outside. Similarly, we have to struggle for spiritual perfection also by our repeated endeavors with patience and perseverance.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, as you mentioned that sometimes we may not be having gross desires, but some subtle desires may be there.
Yes.
So we are not stones. We cannot stop our desires, right? So we use our desires in Krishna's service. But in this process, sometimes there may come some subtle desires.
Right.
So how can we identify that this desire is for Krishna's service or for my personal sense gratification? If we do not know, then if I don't know that I'm diseased, then why will I bother to go to a doctor, right? So how to identify this and how to make sure that such desires do not come for our personal sense gratification and only for Krishna's service we desire.
Yes, so we have to be careful. We have to be introspective and see actually what is my intent. Do I actually want for Krishna or do I want for myself? And that is why for this the devotees are there to help us. So we take advice of the devotees whenever we are in confusion, when we are not able to understand.
And Prabhu, sometimes the as you mentioned that trying to be famous or getting some degrees or some top exam, cracking some top exam, they create some gravity while preaching, right? They have carry a weight. People try to hear such
Yes,
people, right?
definitely.
So this desire should be there na, to get these
No, the
degrees.
desire should be there to preach. Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj had no qualifications, but he preached the most extraordinary person and he spread Krishna consciousness across the world. He was illiterate man. How he was able to preach? So that is why we should simply desire to preach. Akbar was not able to have any degree. He was illiterate man, but he was ruling entire country. So illiterate person can preach the greatest scholar of the world. An illiterate person can become the greatest king of the entire world. So one should desire the end result. So one should desire to preach Krishna consciousness. Yes, for preaching, if I am having already some opulences, some position given by Krishna, they can be used in service of Krishna. But one should simply desire preaching. So in course of preaching, if any opulences come, definitely we'll pick up, we'll use in the service of Krishna. But I should not think that unless I have some material position, I cannot preach. No, this is not the way. Rather than becoming opulent and preaching, you preach an opulent person, become a preacher.
One more question, Prabhu.
Yeah, if anyone else has, then we'll come back. Yeah, so that everyone gets chance.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So we were discussing that cleanliness is equal to godliness.
Is next to godliness.
Is next to godliness. So one of my friends used to ask me that in European countries we see people are keeping themselves more clean and hygienic,
Yeah,
while they are being more atheistic.
yeah,
But while we see here our temples are crowded with people,
yes.
but people are throwing garbage here and there,
Yes.
so they don't follow even civic sense.
Yeah.
That's why the suffering is compared to Western countries, we have more suffering.
No, that is not fact. Western countries, they are having more suffering. There is more depression, more unhappiness.
But like for infrastructure and cleanliness,
Yeah, so suffering is not equal to bad infrastructure or good. That is illusion. Infrastructure is something different. Goswamis had no infrastructure, but they were completely happy and satisfied. So infrastructure is bad, but we cannot tell people are suffering more.
so does that mean even in...
But yes, we should not think that Western civilization is completely filthy civilization, completely bad. No. So if they are keeping their cities clean, that is favorable. That is very good. So that will help them to advance in Krishna consciousness. Similarly, they don't have family attachment. This thing is also good. This is also favorable. So they have few things favorable. And India, if we are keeping the ourselves unclean, the place is dirty, that is unfavorable. So that should be improved. We should learn from the West how to keep things clean.
Thank you.
They are very disciplined. If we also become disciplined like that, it will help us to advance in devotional service.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Prabhupada very much appreciated when the temple was being constructed in Mayapur. So Prabhupada told, people call me American Guru. So you work like Americans. Don't learn Indian way of working. So Prabhupada very much appreciated. So those things are favorable. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, is cleanliness mandatory for godliness? Matlab,
Yes.
but so for Prabhu's example, he said ki Indians are called uncivilized because sometimes they are not very clean.
No, now they have become unclean because they could not become West and they have lost their culture also.
But in case of those, matlab, Babajis also, we see that they have
No, Babaji is
transcended.
different. They are Paramahansas. Paramahansa need not be clean at all. They can be unclean. They may not have taken bath. They may live in a filthy place. They are Paramahansas. Rishabh, was smearing stool on his body to avoid people in general. So Paramahansas need not follow rules and regulations. For us to become perfect, we need to be clean. We need to be sattvic.
A temple should be, matlab,
Immaculately
ideally
clean. Yes.
immaculate.
Yeah, yeah.
And Prabhu does. So you said devotional service burns karmas, you know,
Yeah.
and eventually it takes you back to Godhead. So
Yes.
doing devotional service for burning karma or going back to Godhead, does that count as a desire?
Yes, that is also jnana. That is called, if I want to get rid of the karmas, then that is called jnana contamination or karma contamination. I should not desire that.
That is an offense. For
That is also an
against
offense, yes.
chanting.
Yeah.
Prabhu, as we know that there is no such term like Hindu in our Vedic scriptures.
Correct.
But here Prabhupada has mentioned this term, Hindus in general.
In our context. Because we understand Hindu means that, so Prabhupada is explaining in our context.
Regarding that question of Western civilization,
Hmm.
if they are eating meat and everything they are doing, so and they are clean also.
Yeah.
So cleanliness is a sign of mode of goodness,
Correct.
and eating meat is a sign of mode of ignorance.
Correct.
So are they in both, or some are in like in ignorance, or some are in goodness, or they are able to learn all this out of culture?
Yeah, correct. So there are various things. So there is nobody who is in complete ignorance, nobody in complete goodness. Everyone is mixed. So thus they are having goodness also. Because of goodness, they are able to keep things clean. They are having ignorance also. Because of that, they are eating meat and other things. Just like different people have different bad habits and different way of going into ignorance. So in these cases, they are sattvic, and in these cases, they are tamasic in their food habits. Somebody may be sattvic in food habits, but might be having tamogun in other places.
And just like one more thing, this Western Prabhupada says that they are eating meat and other things they are doing. But at the same time, they are very opulent also, materially. They have
Yeah.
money and other things. So
Yes.
unless a person has done good activities in the previous life, he cannot
Correct.
become so rich.
Correct.
So they have done good activities in the previous life, but they are taking birth in this kind of places,
Yes.
and they are now addicted towards meat eating and other thing.
Correct.
So this is because of their bad karma, or because then the good activities they should get some chance to elevate in bhakti also. But they're
Correct.
taking birth in the places where they are consuming meat and alcohol, other things.
Right. So that is why Prabhupada gave them chance. Or Jesus Christ also. He also gave chance to elevate them, do pious activities. Unfortunately, they made the wrong interpretation. Thou shall not kill. They made thou shall not murder and like this. Otherwise, the acharas have tried to elevate them. So yes, so this is how Chakravat Parivartanti, Sukhani cha Dukhani cha. By good karma, they become rich. After becoming rich, they do bad karma, they again become poor. In this way, it goes on in cycles. Online?
But I had my question. But is it like one person can have, he can be, his cleanliness is in mode of ignorance and eating in mode of goodness, and other person is cleaning is in mode of goodness and eating is in mode of ignorance? Is it?
Yes, possible.
So all 84 lakh species what we define, is it that all these species have different activities and different mode of nature. Is it like this?
Usually it is not like this, but yeah, human being has got freedom. So in human beings, you can see either the habit will also become, if person is cleaning everything very nicely, his eating habits also may become good. He may become vegetarian and eat Krishna Prasadam later. And if somebody is eating very nicely, even though he may be unclean, he may start cleaning things also in a good way.
Just like we see even animal kingdom also, there are many
Yeah.
species,
Yeah.
multiple varieties within same category,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So how do you understand that? I mean, just like marine animals are 9 lakh or 20 lakh something.
Navalakshani, 9 lakhs.
Navlakshana, yeah. So I mean, what does distinguish all these 9 lakh varieties of?
Their consciousness.
I mean, little more can you explain about what exactly?
Elevation of consciousness.
So there are 9 lakh gradations of consciousness, is it?
Yes, gradations of consciousness. This is evolution of consciousness.
Are you saying Krishna consciousness or like what consciousness?
Contaminated consciousness, material consciousness. Krishna consciousness is transcendental. Material consciousness. Brahmana is the topmost in material consciousness, and the aquatics are the lowest.
Sir,
And beyond Brahmana is Krishna consciousness, Vaishnava.
okay. Okay, I'll take it online.
Able to elevate his consciousness, can we say change species? Because species is based on consciousness.
Yes.
If he has elevated his consciousness, can we say that he has changed the species?
We shall become human being.
So what kind
No,
of
that
species
is within human. Okay. That's what is change of association, bro.
Probably that is why Prabhupada defines that Asura and demons, they are considered species and they are differentiated by their activities. Na shocham napi chacharo na satyam teshu vidyate. What is demoniac species of life? They are avowedly untruthful. They don't have any rules and regulations. They don't have any regard for this. And what is Devata? Vishnu Bhakta Smratodaiva, one who is worshipper of devotee. So probably we have to think about it.
I'll take online questions from now. Yeah. Hare Krishna Prabhu. One of the Acharya says, endeavors for material upliftment bring distress. In such a case, what should be the ideal way of pursuing career? Is there a checklist to follow?
Can you please repeat?
One of the Acharya says, endeavors for material upliftment bring distress. In such a case, what should be the ideal way of pursuing career?
Not one of the acharyas, all the acharyas and Lord Krishna throughout the Vedas it is told, if we work for material upliftment, that will bring us distress. That is a fact. So how should we pursue career? Career should be pursued to serve Krishna. We find a way which suits our mind and body, a work which suits our mind and body. Now we engage in that work for the service of Krishna. In this way we should choose our career, where I find devotee association so that I can serve Krishna nicely. And I am most comfortable in that job, and the results of that job should be offered to Krishna. In this way we should choose it.
How to handle the situation when others are forcing to do wrong things like gambling, when we are lacking, when someone dominates us even though we are practicing Krishna consciousness?
Somebody is doing gambling and how to correct them.
How to handle, he's forcing us to do gambling.
He's forcing us, don't do it.
He's dominating.
Yeah, so we have to manage. You have to see what kind of person he is, what relation you have. So that we have to manage. That you apply intelligence, pray to Krishna, or take guidance from the devotees. So that we can do, right? Nobody can force us like that. Leave house if he's a family member, if he's forcing. Or leave your company if some boss or somebody is forcing you. So that we can do easily.
Another question, Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam. My mother always nags me saying, you have joined ISKCON, why you have not become a good person? Prabhuji, what can I do personally to improve myself?
So it's a process, just like one is in hospital. One cannot expect to get cured immediately, but I'm in the process. Just like we have to study in the school for 15 years, 20 years, then one starts earning. Similarly, it may take some time to show the real effects of Krishna consciousness. And you tell them, you also please support me in following. If the family is also favorable, I will be able to advance easily. So you also please follow. When the entire family follows, then the effect is much more of Krishna consciousness. So in this way, we can explain to our parents. And of course, we should show also, this is a genuine question. If I am following Krishna consciousness, but they don't see tangible change in our behavior, they may question all these things. So we should behave very nicely with the family members, and we should show them positive changes, then they will appreciate. So please try to behave nicely with the family.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, if we are chanting without knowledge, then it is less effective. And when we chant with knowledge, is it fully effective?
Definitely, that's what we discussed today.
Then what is that knowledge of chanting?
Knowledge of Krishna. When we are thoroughly convinced of the knowledge which Krishna is giving here, and we chant, then it is effective.
Another question from Zoom. Somebody asked, does illicit sex also include masturbation?
Yes. Even one is thinking of the masturbation is much grosser, but one is simply thinking of the other gender, or one is appreciating the even voice of other gender. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu once, a person who was having a sweet shop in Nadia, he visited Jagannath Puri after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had taken sannyas. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was young, he would go to his sweet shop and he would enjoy various sweet dishes over there. So when he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he introduced, I have come, and his wife also had come, because Mahaprabhu was knowing both of them. But when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard his wife's name, he flinched little. Of course, he did not tell anything because he was very intimately related to him. But this is the etiquette of the sannyasi. Sannyasi does not want to hear even the name of a woman. So one should not even see the face of the other gender, men of women and women of men. But definitely we have to preach Krishna consciousness. If we don't see the face, how shall we preach? So thus we can be careful in a group, in a community. This association is okay, but personal association should always be avoided. Grossly or in mind also, we should not appreciate, we should not think about other gender. That falls under illicit sex. We are watching some movie, some other, anything else of other gender, that also comes under illicit sex. So karmana manasa vacha sarvavasthasu sarvada. With mind, body and words, cutting jokes, hearing discussions, affairs of others, and all these things, they are all considered part of illicit sex. So mind, body, words, everything should be cleansed. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, विश्व गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.
Subscribe to our channel, and to get the latest updates, do not forget to press the bell icon. Hare Krishna.